My name is Liz Partsch.
And I am Paul Rowley.
And welcome to Farm and Dairy's Weekly Rundown.
Where we'll be giving you a rundown of all the news this week. And there was news.
Yeah.
As there is every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll kick us off with some, more sad news.
Okay.
Usually have plenty of that in the paper. So this week I wrote about an orphan well explosion that took place in Wayne National Forest in Washington County, Ohio on August 25th. The explosion injured 6 workers from Monroe drilling operations that were in the process of actually plugging the well.
Oh, my.
So, and according to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources investigation that looked into the incident, the orphan well, which was located in Independence Township, was in the process of being plugged when natural gas and crude oil traveled up to the surface, igniting and causing an explosion. Yeah, Reno Volunteer Fire Department Fire Chief John Bradford was actually on the scene, working to put out the fire with several other fire departments in the area. And according to him, the orphan well was 2.5 to 3 miles back into the woods.
Okay.
And, the fire departments had to, access this orphan well. They had to use side-by-sides and four-wheeler brush trucks with the fire pumps via a trail to, kind of haul that water back because it was so secluded.
Yeah.
The well was put out within an hour, though, he said.
Wow.
And, nothing was that severely damaged except for, obviously, the workers who had to go to the hospital, 4 of them, which were, helicoptered to different hospitals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But the fire chief added that, he is aware of the large portion of orphan wells in Washington County and, just across the state. But really, this was, the first time that he's actually had to deal with, a incident of this matter with an explosion. And he said to me that, since this has happened now, he hopes to kind of study this in the future because it was this orphan well wasn't in an easily accessible location and it was a bit more difficult to get back there. So he's hoping, that this kind of gives some awareness to the dangers of, orphan wells and maybe, there needs to be more training, which he hopes to advocate for, just training in general, just for the firefighters and some of the workers that are plugging these wells. Especially as the state is really prioritizing plugging these orphan wells.
Right.
That's because ODNR has identified 19,000 orphan wells in the state, but only 2,300 have been plugged.
Oh,
and the state actually estimates there are 36,000 orphan wells in total.
Wow.
So there's a lot in the state, and just a lot of money has been given to, to do this in the state recently. So
yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, good reporting. That's a scary story too. I hope all of those guys are well.
Yeah. Me too.
After that incident. My goodness. Well, Liz, let me tell you something. So I spend a lot of time on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I saw, actually, it was a crazy, sad TikTok recently, but a family whose house had burned down or had suffered a tremendous amount of fire and smoke damage, which caused actually the death of a beloved pet of this family due to a lithium battery. No. Yeah, it was so sad. It was a bulldog.
Lithium battery?
Yes. So they had it plugged into an outlet in their living room, and it was unattended. And I forget what device it came from, they said, but the battery suffered some sort of malfunction while it was charging and caused this fire that led to all of this destruction and obviously loss.
It's actually terrifying.
Yes, so terrible. So, which I thought, this terrible incident, it was actually a decent enough segue into, something being very important, which is that September, the month we are now in, oh my God, time is flying.
Wow.
September is officially designated as Ohio Preparedness Month by the state of Ohio. And you will find, dear readers, in your paper this week, actually, a wonderful infographic that has been designed for this purpose, for letting us know what we should be prepared for in case, crisis finds us in the state of Ohio. This year's theme, actually, for Ohio Preparedness Month is Prepare Your Home. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Right. So check it out on the front cover of our auction section this week. So why does preparation matter? Why do we need to be prepared for things? Well, disaster can strike at any time. Okay. Here in Ohio, we are no strangers to things like severe weather. But emergencies can also come in the form of health crises, for example, or human-caused catastrophes. And the best thing we can do is really just learn about those risks in our area and then plan ahead. So what are the top 10 natural hazards in Ohio? Okay. So in your infographic, in your paper this week, you're going to see things including flooding. We got to look out for flooding. We got to look out for some tornadoes. They don't happen all the time, but they could happen. We got winter storms to watch out for. We got severe summer storms to watch out for. We got even the possibility of earthquakes, however far away that may seem. We can have them here. Dam or levee failure. There are some folks that are protected by levees that need to watch out. We got drought. Obviously, we just experienced a heck of a drought this past summer, I believe.
And currently, kind of seems like.
Yes, currently too. Thank you. We got wildfires, the threat of potential wildfires. We got mud or landslides, and then also invasive species. They'll be messing with all of our lives here too. Looking at you, spotted lanternfly moth. The gas pump that I went to most recently, covered in them.
Ugh.
I was literally like, I'm going to cause an explosion trying to slap all of them, to kill them all. So anyway, quite a list of threats there that I just named off, but don't feel overwhelmed. That's what you should take away from looking at this infographic. It's all about preparation. So the goal is to tailor your emergency plan and kit that you will hopefully also compile to the hazards that are most likely in your area. So there are some key questions to ask yourself, like, do you have an emergency kit with supplies for everyone in your household ready to go in case of one of these things happening, these calamities? Do you have an emergency pet for your family and your pets, of course? If your cell phone, is not working or functioning, if you are in, suddenly cell phone service cut, gone. It happens. Okay.
Excuse me, wait, did you say emergency pet? Make sure you have an emergency pet.
You should have an emergency pet, really.
Well, why isn't my pet now? Why would I need an emergency pet for my pet?
This is true.
That one pet died, so
you have a backup one.
I'll just pull up my backup pet.
People do that with Labrador retrievers, and that kind
do
of
not
thing.
say that. I have a lab.
Oh, sorry.
And
Didn't mean to go too close to home.
That is too close to home. She is my primary and only pet.
Yeah.
She does not need a backup.
No, she does not. No.
So I take offense to this emergency pet. Do not get an emergency pet.
No, just get a companion for your pet, maybe. But
Yes, there you go.
Yeah. So anyway, have an emergency plan for your pet, and make sure you can talk to people if the cell phone coverage goes down. Where you're gonna go if the severe weather hits, if the lithium battery blows up your house, if something like that. Like, make sure you know your evacuation routes, who you're going with, that kind of thing. Preparedness, not just about having the right supplies, it is also about prevention. Okay. So some simple home safety tips can make a big difference, like trimming very large tree branches that are looming over your home, your abode, wherever. Checking your gutters, your downspouts, your roof, making sure that that's in decent enough condition. And when you're ready to take the next step, there are resources that are listed in the infographic to help you with that. And so that is on the front cover of Auction. So check that out.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Paul, got another story for us here. So even that, I know fall's approaching. It's in the air, but I'm in the mood for ice cream lately,
me too.
right?
Yeah.
Like, it has
Always.
the urge for ice cream has not stopped.
No.
But I'm not in the mood for just any ice cream. I'm actually in the mood for a Klondike bar or a
heck yeah.
skyscraper cone.
That sounds nice.
Right? Yeah. So, you may not recognize, obviously you recognize the Klondike bar, maybe not the skyscraper cone. And that's actually because you can't buy that product anymore.
Bad.
But many of our readers will actually probably be able to recognize these famous snacks as part of the Isley Dairy Company.
Oh.
And that was our story on the front of the paper this week. The Isley family was well known here in Ohio as it started its dairy and deli company in Mansfield, Ohio, with its first dairy farm, milk plant, and eventually storefronts in the early 1990s or 1900s. 2 decades later, the family sold its. 2 decades later, it would expand its stores into Youngstown and Marion, Ohio, and eventually southwestern Pennsylvania and even West Virginia. So they really blew up throughout, the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s.
Right.
And then, nowadays, the Isley family doesn't really operate these stores anymore. They kind of sold the company in the 70s. But, now people can actually go back in time to the Isley storefronts with a new exhibit at the Armis Family Museum in Youngstown, Ohio, that features artifacts from the Isley storefronts, the Isley family history, old photographs, and advertisements. So, yeah, it's really supposed to take people back.
Yeah.
But, it also pays, kind of homage to the Isley family legacy that continues to live on today with chip chopped ham sandwiches. That's pretty popular. They were originally made by the Isleys.
That sounds yummy.
Yeah, they were created in Pittsburgh, and they're still being sold by another company today.
Oh, wow.
And as you may have already, kind of indicated, Klondike bars are still sold today by the multinational company Unilever.
Okay.
I think I said that right.
Okay.
But yeah, I do have a bone to pick though, Paul, that I thought I'd share with you. Yeah. So, I'm I'm kind of, mad at Unilever with all these like boring Klondike flavors they have now.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, because I really think we need to bring back some of the old-fashioned ice cream
Okay.
flavors. Because when I was doing, the research for this story, and this is in this story as well, a Youngstown Vindicator article from 1922 actually found that, reported at the time that the Isley family sold Klondikes in 6 different flavors.
Oh,
And some of these flavors included grape, cherry, and maple
okay.
Klondikes.
I would like to try those.
Right? Like that's what I've been thinking about, like trying a maple Klondike
Yeah.
since I've written this story. And I'm like, why don't we have more interesting, cool flavors like that? Like, yeah, we have cookies and cream, but come on.
Right. Yeah.
Come on. And just like mash up Oreos. Like I want pure maple syrup in a Klondike bar. I
Yeah.
want like cherries, like that mixture.
Jerry Garcia Klondike bar.
Yeah, or like a grape Klondike bar, like that. Just like I feel like we don't have grape in enough of stuff,
Yeah.
right?
That's
Like,
fair. Yeah.
so that's my bone to pick. I think they should bring back the maple Klondike bar because I personally would like to try one.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be great. Okay.
Yeah.
You heard that, corporate executives out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bring people what they want.
Yeah. Well, what would I do for a Klondike bar? Probably a lot. But I think going above and beyond, Jim Abrams this week in our paper has a story of someone going above and beyond
Love that.
absolutely had to share because it was it sounded almost straight out of an action flick. It was a really interesting story that he wrote about, which is featured, of course, in our rural section this week. So he tells us the tale of Jerry Scott, which Jerry was Mr. Scott rather, was a former investigator with the Ohio Division of Wildlife back in 1977. And he remembers this day, apparently never forgot it. It was October 30th. While most people were getting ready for Halloween, Mr. Scott, Jerry, and his fellow officer Paul Wynn were out patrolling on Lake Erie, which this is what this looks like, patrolling, if you see me doing this, on the division's 28-foot Bertram boat. Their mission was to make sure that Canadian fishing vessels were not sneaking into Ohio waters to set illegal nets under the cover of fog. So this is already it's very clandestine. Like I love the setting.
This is very spooky too.
Yeah.
It is giving Halloween
Right. It's
feels.
It's all the things. It's really cool. On that foggy morning, they found exactly what they were looking for. So there was a Canadian vessel, and it was called the Cliffside, and it was hauling in nets packed with fish just about 2 miles deep into Ohio waters. And so as soon as the crew spotted Jerry and Paul, they were like, oh, we got to make a run for it, and hit the throttle, black smoke coming out of the engine, tried to make a run for it. Well, anyway, Jerry and Paul give chase, literally, because that is their job. As the investigators. What happened next? Totally crazy. So Officer Wynn maneuvered their little patrol boat alongside compared to what they were in, the much larger cliffside. And just with seconds to act, Jerry leapt from his boat onto the cliffside, knowing full well that if he fell into the water, then he would be propelled into. He would be final destination death.
Wow.
Because the propellers aren't so and it's just and just leapt, and then what does he do next? He makes it aboard. He runs to the wheelhouse to get in here to confront the captain and be like, I saw you guys fishing in Ohio waters. Instead of backing down, the captain fights him. And so now these two men are basically wrestling. I think Jerry said that Jim said that Jerry was in a headlock while they're fighting to get control of the vessel, the cliffside. His radio that he has slips away. The captain refusing to give up control. In this chaos, Jerry managed to use his standard issue old school chemical mace to drive back the captain and another crew member who jumped in to try to wrestle him off of the ship. So by the time the cliffside pulls into Kingsville, Canada, the scene had escalated into basically what you can consider an international incident because at this point, Jerry had backed himself into a corner so that he couldn't be attacked from behind anymore. And he's essentially have been kidnapped against his will and brought to another country. So,
oh my God.
I know. It's so crazy. And anyway, Canadian police and wildlife officials were waiting already dockside. They had heard what was going on. And Jerry was eventually safely reunited with his fellow Ohio officers. Back home, meanwhile, the story had hit the evening news. Like, can you imagine, like Walter Cronkite?
Mhm.
The headline said that a wildlife officer had been kidnapped and taken to Canada. Jerry's wife, meanwhile, meets him at the door with one simple request: like, please sit down because I have to hear about this one. Like, we got a dish. Like, what's going on? So in the end, no charges were brought against the Canadian crew for anything that transpired. But Jerry's story has become a reminder. Jim reminds us to wildlife officers everywhere that the job is very unpredictable, risky, and sometimes dangerous. But wow, thank you for the story, Jim.
Wow.
Definitely check it out for like the full scope of it.
And thanks for the dedication, Jerry. Holy
I
crap.
know.
That is dedication to the
Right.
job.
Yeah. So
is-
above and beyond.
Wow. Jim always writes just the most
I know.
fascinating
Yeah.
stories.
When I sat down to
Ridiculous.
read that one, I was not expecting.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was
Wow.
like, okay, well,
You know, one day
yeah.
I want to have a conversation with him on this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Or newscast. Both formats.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm going to take us back to some news.
Ah, yes.
So this week I wrote about a Class 2 injection well in Washington County, Ohio, that was permitted by the Ohio Department of Natural Resources on August 28th. And that's despite opposition from the Marietta City Council. The Stevens number 1 well, which is going to be operated by Deep Rock Disposal Solutions, will be the 5th Class 2 injection well near Marietta's water aquifers. And the Marietta City Council, this comes after, the City Council wrote a letter to ODNR kind of asking the company to deny the permits over concerns related to public health, safety, and good conservation practices. So the letter kind of cited, multiple reasons for this, including just how close a bunch of, like 5 in total, in Class 2 injection wells that are close to multiple communities' water aquifers.
Oh, okay.
And, the reason why they're concerned about that is because in this letter they cited multiple instances of brine, which is fracking waste, that has migrated from these Class 2 injection wells in Washington County and neighboring counties, including several Class 2 injection wells that were actually shut down due to brine migration by ODNR. They shut them down because they threatened nearby water sources.
Oh, wow.
And those were just recently happened. The letter, which was published, I think, on August 8th by the City Council and sent to ODNR, it actually came after multiple Marietta residents have expressed concerns related to water quality in the area, after 2 conventional well owners found brine waste in their wells from a Class 2 injection well in Washington County. So it really just seems like it's a bit of an ongoing concern in that community.
Yeah.
But despite this, ODNR did approve the well recently because it met all requirements by Ohio, law. And they told that to Farm and Dairy over the weekend or I think Monday.
All
So.
right. Dang.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's some more news.
Yeah.
Well, what do you got for us, Paul?
Well, I think I have a chance for everyone to get out and do some picnicking, actually. I'll just preface this by saying that in April, I actually had of this year, I had the opportunity to go on a little journey with the Friends of Ohio Barns. Lovely. And we went on a little bus tour through Stark County, Ohio, to go see several historic barns. In fact, Ohio recognizes the barn as like a state symbol. It started doing that in 2019. And anyway, if you've ever wanted to sort of get a chance to experience the heritage that is Ohio's barns up close, then you have a chance to do that coming up. So because the Friends are going to host their fall picnic on October 4th at Irish Ridge Farm in Mount Pleasant.
Wow, book your calendars.
Yes. And your hosts are going to be Bruce and Bev Riddle, which is a fun name. They're opening their farm as well as their tractor collection for guests who attend the picnic. If you show up a little bit early, you will even get a tour of their heritage home, which is filled with antiques, quilts, repurposed barn things. I'm sure there's little vignettes everywhere, all over their home. That's what I'm picturing. It's probably going to be quite lovely. Lunch will kick off at 12:30 p.m. There will be meats, hot dishes, all of the fixings. Just bring alongside a little dish to share, a little dessert, if you will. And afterwards, you'll get the chance to explore not only the barns on the property, but also apparently more barns but even like a historic Quaker house. Apparently they're going to take a trip to, and other local landmarks. So that's really cool. The admission is free, but space is limited. Registration closes on September 15th. So as this sounds like, you're kind of something that would be up your alley to sort of edge yourself into fall a little bit, you will want to secure your spot. So check out the paper to find out who to contact. I'm going to hold that from you and gatekeep so that you read our paper.
Yes.
So anyway.
Yeah. Read everything in the paper.
Yeah. And then that way you can get your spot to go to this picnic.
Yeah.
And that is, that's all I've got. And I think
Yeah.
that is all the stories we have this week.
Yeah. To read the full stories, you can go to farmanddairy.com or find your local newsstand.
Thank you so much for joining us. And we shall see you later. Next week, in fact. Bonsoir.